All right, let's talk about the professional world's version of a prenup. No, really, it's an auditing standard called ISA 210, and it's basically designed to make sure a new business relationship doesn't go down in flames and end in a messy, super expensive divorce.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Before I touch your books, we're signing a deal. It's the auditor laying down the law right from the jump. No games, no drama, just a solid, no-nonsense foundation for how things are going to work.
So why do we keep calling it a prenup? Well, because that's exactly what it is. It's all about setting the ground rules before a single bit of work begins. You're trying to head off any potential chaos by making sure everybody is on the exact same page.
Because without those clear terms, oh boy, things can get ugly. You end up in this toxic relationship of an audit, where evidence just mysteriously disappears, nobody's talking to each other, and the client story changes every 5 minutes. It's a total nightmare. And ISA 210, it's the tool designed to stop that train wreck before it even leaves the station. Okay, so how does this whole thing kick off? Well, before an auditor even dreams of signing a contract, they've got to do some serious homework. We're talking about a pre-engagement check. And this isn't just ticking a box. It's a super critical look to see if the client is, well, if they're even ready for this kind of commitment.
And that whole process is built around something the standard calls preconditions. Just think of them as the absolute must-haves, the non-negotiables that a client has to meet. If they can't clear these basic hurdles, the whole relationship is, let's be honest, pretty much dead on arrival.
And really, this whole pre-check boils down to 2 key things. They're simple, but you can't bend on them. First, is the client using a legit financial reporting framework, like IFRS or US GAAP? And second, and this one is huge, does management actually get it? Do they understand and accept what their job is in this whole process? And let's be crystal clear here. Management can't just toss the keys to the auditor and disappear. Nope. Their job is to prep the financial statements, keep solid internal controls in place, and this is key, give the auditor access to everything. No locked doors, no hidden files, and yeah, that definitely means not hiding misstatements like some kind of dirty laundry. This right here, this is the auditor's ultimate power move. If a client just can't meet those basic preconditions, the auditor can, and absolutely should, just walk away. Think about it. An auditor's reputation is everything, and ISA 210 basically hands them a permission slip to say, nope, not worth it.
Okay, so let's say the client passes the test. They've met the preconditions. Great. Now it's time to make it official. This is where we get to the audit engagement letter. This is the formal, signed on the dotted line contract that makes sure there is zero room for confusion later.
And you gotta love this description. It's a love letter minus the love. Because it is. This thing isn't filled with poetic language and warm fuzzies. It is a cold, hard, legally binding agreement. Its only purpose is crystal clear clarity, not affection. Every single term is spelled out.
So what's actually in this letter? Basically everything. The whole point of the audit, what the auditor is responsible for, what management is responsible for, the reporting framework being used, what the final report will look like, not to mention deadlines, and of course the fees. It's all there in black and white, so nobody can ever say, oh, I didn't know that. What the engagement letter does so well is make the division of labor totally clear. It boils down to this. The auditor's job, give an independent opinion. Management's job, prepare the statements and give the auditor access to everything. That's it. Simple, right? But it's an absolutely critical distinction.
Okay, but what about clients you've been working with for years? The long-term relationships. Do you really have to go through this whole song and dance with a new letter every single year?
Well, the short answer is usually no. For a repeat client, you don't always need a brand new contract from scratch each time. That first agreement can often just carry over. But, and this is a very important but, there are some big exceptions.
This is when the auditor has to be on high alert for major changes. Like, did senior management change? Is there a new owner? Did the scope of the business just get way bigger? Or, and this one's my favorite, has the client developed a, let's call it a wild imagination about what was originally agreed to? If any of that happens, yep, it's time to whip out a new prenup.
All right, now let's get to the juicy part. This is where ISA 210 really becomes an auditor's best friend, protecting them from just plain unreasonable demands. We're talking about when a client's requests go from being a little pushy to being completely out there. Management, you see, sometimes has, let's call them audit fantasies. And what's an audit fantasy? It's one of those totally ridiculous demands that shows they have no clue what an audit is even for.
And that engagement letter from ISA 210, it's the perfect reality check to shut those fantasies down. Fast.
Oh yeah, here's a classic example. Hey, you know that one division over there? Could you just not audit that part, please? I mean, come on. That's not just a red flag. That's a giant, flashing, neon sign challenging the whole point of the audit.
Or how about this gem? Just trust our numbers. What? The entire point of an audit is to not just trust the numbers. It's to verify them. That's like telling a building inspector, nah, don't look at the foundation. Just trust me, it's solid. It completely defeats the purpose.
And this is the only correct response, backed by that ironclad engagement letter. Not happening. Fix your expectations or go find another victim. The terms are clear, the roles are defined, and just like that, the fantasy is over.
So let's pull all this together. Why does this prenup actually matter so much? Because it's way more than just paperwork. We're talking about professional integrity, about protection, about setting the stage for a proper audit. I mean, what happens if those preconditions just aren't met? The answer is simple. The auditor has to walk away. Period. You don't accept the engagement. It's like being dragged into a marriage you never agreed to. It's a professional setup for total failure, and it's guaranteed to end badly for everyone. So, in the simplest terms, what is ISA 210 all about? It's about setting clear boundaries. It's about managing what the client expects. It's about protecting the auditor's reputation and their independence. And maybe most of all, it's about making sure everyone knows their role before the show even starts. Which leaves me with one final question for you. After all this talk of prenups, rules, and boundaries, is an audit really a partnership? Or is it more of a well-managed hostage situation? Something to chew on.